Here we go. All right. So we had some requests for pelvis stuff. So we've kind of sprinkled this in a little bit, but we're gonna dive a little bit deeper here. So what I want you guys to start with here is either large ball or small ball on top of a yoga block or a book. You can also use a foam roller, but if you have a ball, I would encourage you to play with that a little bit because I find that you get a little bit more, just a deeper work with a ball versus the foam roller. So we are starting right on the inside of your thigh, basically up as high as you can go on the inside here. And you'll notice I kind of have to, I can't just lay on my side, I have to lay kind of face down here. And what we're gonna be doing is you can roll a little bit back and forth this way. So stay down there if you're on the floor. If you are going to be staying on a chair, what you're gonna do is come here, so you have like kind of right by your butt bone, but you're gonna roll your leg in a little bit more. So that's how you can kind of get that inside of your thigh. So as we work down, you can just work down from a seated position too. So ball here. Sounds like a human just fell above me. So I'm here, rolling, and then once you kind of find a sore spot, you can, I don't know if you can see my leg here. So I'm laying here. You can lift your foot up and back, up and down, kind of get a little variety in there. You can bend and straighten that knee. And then we'll drop down a little bit lower. And once you come down a little lower, it's a little easier. It's almost like you're spooning the floor. You can kind of roll a little bit to the quad here, depending on how mobile your hips are. You can get a little bit of rotation with that. Same thing as you're moving around. If you find a really tight spot, you can just hold it. You can add bending and straightening, add some rotation. So we're working a group of muscles, the adductors, so the inside of our thigh, groin is usually what most people call them, but they attach to the pelvis and to the knee and can create a lot of tension, actually twisting our pelvis in different directions that we don't want it to necessarily be in. We don't necessarily want to have one side tighter than the other that's going to be pulling that. So this way, and then we can drop down a little bit. And straighten. I just got back from Kitchen 1 for 1 doing some food prep for them, and it's been really cool to see with all the food excess with the restaurants being closed, what we are able to do with some of that excess food and how we're able to make meals for people in need. So it was just crazy how much food they're able to kind of put together and deliver. Okay, let's drop down just a little bit more here. So we're getting closer to the knee. We'll probably do 2 more spots here. You can still get to that quad a little bit here. So if you're sitting on a chair, you are working a little bit more the back side of your leg, and that is just fine. It's still, those also attached to the hamstrings, actually still attached to the pelvis. So still getting a similar If you have a, I'll actually show you this on the other side. If you're a chair, like this position's not good, I'll show you something that you can do to still get this inside of the leg. So let's get one more spot right above the knee. I have a little counter surfer over here. Hey, Aini, come. Good girl. Okay, we're gonna switch to the other side. So start as high into your groin as you can possibly. And you're laying just down like this. So you're gonna stay down there. If you're sitting, a nice way to still get this inside area is using your hand. So you can take the ball and just kind of roll, get some blood flow in these different areas. It's a little bit more work from your hands, but that's okay. So we're laying on the other side. Can add some of that hip rotation. Bend and straighten. It's funny, one of my mentors was, he does a lot of education on just standing and how sitting is the new smoking. And he talks a lot about sitting with your legs wide open. So I kind of think of it as the way that we are told growing up not to sit, because it's not ladylike, at least for women. You don't need to have everything out and about if you're wearing a dress or something, but it's, I do, when it's appropriate, I try to sit like that a little bit more, and it's really nice because it creates length in this area. So it's all about that variety of position. Go ahead and drop down. So if you can kind of think about that as you're sitting, especially if you're sitting at home, a little safer space, or everybody in their stretchy pants, you can just kind of sit with your legs out a little bit more. Don't forget that quad. Drop down a little bit more. We'll get about 2 more spots on this leg, and then we're gonna move. We're gonna be working the pelvic floor. So this is an area that most people don't work very often. We've done a little bit of work on that here, but it's interesting how many people, we kind of tend to either like clench our butt cheeks all day, or if you've heard of Kegels, strengthening that pelvic floor, that bottom muscle area between your legs. And it, some people kind of go to the other side and they become too tight. So it's just that balance between strength and mobility. Go ahead and drop down. So we're gonna work, I'm gonna show you guys some self-massage techniques down there. And we use a ball, you keep your clothes on, all PG. Come here, come. But it's interesting how many patients that I've at least worked with and athletes, if you're working on your squat form, male or female, how much getting that pelvic floor to loosen up if it is tight affects that movement. Takes pressure off your lower back. It helps regulate bowel movements. So if you struggle with constipation or any pain down there, pain with sex, that kind of thing, just really helps to relax everything. Okay, last spot, right above the knee. I always get a nice little shoulder workout with these too. All right, let's come on off of that side. So what you're gonna grab here is a single ball. And if you only have a firmer ball, like a lacrosse ball, I'm gonna have you either take a towel and a blanket and lay it on top, or just use a towel because the lacrosse ball is a little bit too intense for this area. So if you feel your butt bones underneath your hands here, and you can do this seated in a chair just fine. We're gonna go, if I go right on my butt bone here, I'm gonna drop right to the inside of my butt bone. So anatomically, you're basically in between that one butt bone and your rectal opening. I'm gonna sit crisscross and just kind of relax on here. If you are using a towel or a blanket rolled up, you're just sitting with it right in between. So let me show you that really quick. So you're seated crisscross or seated in a chair. And you'll notice what's gonna happen because your body's naturally gonna maybe wanna come off of the ball. You're gonna kind of wanna sit back like this. So try to scoot your butt back and wiggle into a comfortable position here. So if you're using a towel, this is the position you'll be in the whole time. So I'm gonna go back to find the butt bone and go right to the inside. And everyone kind of always asks, how do I know if I'm in the wrong position? You're gonna know if this is in any opening that it shouldn't be. Okay, so we're on muscle. Muscle is the key. So I'm really just sitting here. There's no rolling to go along with this one. And what you'll notice as you start to sit on it is your knee will slowly start to relax down. And it's very important, I should have said this earlier, to be focusing on that 360 breathing. So as we inhale, if you guys saw the video that I posted yesterday, as our lungs inhale, diaphragm drops down, everything pushes down, and we want that pelvic floor to drop down as well. So if visualization really helps you, visualize as you inhale, the pelvic floor dropping down into the ball. And I can just kind of feel my whole left side of the body just sinking slowly into the ball. And add a little bit of movement if you feel like you're just tensing up a little bit. So the movement's more just to kind of let go and relax your lower back as you're doing this. This probably seems like a long time, but we have to kind of sit on it to let everything relax. So I talk about this with the Gorgeous Ball when we were rolling out organ stuff. That's not a good pre-workout. I would put this in the same category. We don't need to be digging deep into these muscles right before you go work out or go for a walk or run, something like that. Okay, we're gonna switch to the other side. So I'm just gonna flip around so you guys can kind of see this. So I find butt bone and I sink to the inside. Now, if you are, actually, if you're using the towel, go ahead and stay there. We're gonna do one more position and I'll give you a little variety. So deep breathing, letting that pelvis sink, make sure your lower back isn't tucking and rounding. Make sure you're not clenching anywhere. You might be clenching your teeth if it's a little bit awkward. And as always, if you can't breathe well, switch to a different tool or take a break. Okay, come here. You can do a little pelvis shake if you feel like you're tensing. Come here, come. Good girl. Feel that leg starting to relax down. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, so our last spot here with this soft, smaller ball is you've got both of your butt bones here, and here's the rectal opening that we've been working on. So women, next spot up towards your pubic bone would be the vaginal opening, and males, that's gonna be more your like testicles and scrotum in that area. So you're gonna be, just think of it as being right in front of that rectal opening with the ball. So again, you're gonna know if you're in an opening or an area that you shouldn't be in. So just try to stay on muscle, wiggle around, kind of sink in. If you're on the towel, I'm gonna give you a little bit of different variety. So we've been sitting crisscross applesauce like this, but now what you can do is you can actually bring your legs a little bit wider if it's comfortable. If you need to rest your back up against a couch or a wall, you can do that as well. But this will just open up a different area for the towel to work on for you. If you're in a chair, you can just sit with your knees a little bit wider too. Back, right in front of the rectal opening. Same thing, deep breathing, allowing your body to let go. This one we won't hang out in too long. Okay, go ahead and come off of that ball. So now what I'm gonna have you guys grab is you're gonna grab a strap. If you have a thicker pull-up band, this is gonna be ideal. So we're gonna do some of the joint work with it. And so what you're actually gonna do, I'm gonna show you this way and then I'll move my hand or move my body. You're gonna attach it, either if you have something you can attach it to, you can do that, or we're gonna attach to the other foot, and then this is gonna slide in here. So you want some good tension. I'm just gonna loop this around one more time. So this leg is going in here. So this is my setup. And then I'm going to lay on my back, just like that. And I'm just gonna hug this knee in towards my chest. So we're starting to work some of those muscles that we just rolled on. Keep that other leg straight, that foot active. If you don't have a band like this, you can just be hugging your knee in like this. The band is just gonna get that extra hip release. So then what I'm gonna try and do here is I'm gonna grab the inside of my knee and pull my leg out to the side. And the key here is your hip flexor, your body is gonna wanna fight this band. So that's why it's really important to have a good grasp on your knee. If this is uncomfortable, you can stay back here. We can add a few leg kicks here. So we're flossing those nerves. And then if you can kind of come into a happy baby position on one leg. So I'm basically trying to kind of grab and pull my leg out to the side. I have to use both hands to hold on because I'm attached to myself. So you might get a little bit more success with this if you're not attached to your foot, if you're actually attached to a rig. I can play with a little bit of pigeon, just play with different hip positions here, not twisting the knee too much. And then go ahead and try to take this leg across your body. So still holding on pretty good to the knee and letting that band pull your hip down. Same thing, if you don't have a band, you can just be doing this sans band. And then you can come back to the center. We're gonna switch sides. So attach the band to the other foot. I'm gonna double line up. Slide the other leg in the band. And then hug the back of your thigh here. Just hang out here for a second. And add a little straightening here. And then we can grab that outside shin high. And then we're gonna pull that leg across the body. Let that band pull the hip. Okay, we're gonna come on out of the band. We're gonna finish with a little bit of activation stuff here for the pelvic floor and the hip muscles. So if you, we're gonna be kneeling, so we're gonna be on hands and knees. So if you need, blanket, something like that, cushion, please do that. So what we're gonna do here, this is a dangerous moment here. So my goal here is to keep my spine stable. So I've got my core, my 360-degree activation, just like the breathing. And I'm gonna shift my body weight to this right hip, and I'm lifting my leg out to the side only as high as I can without moving my back. So if I go too far, you're gonna see kind of this crunch. So just go within the range that you can. And we're making clockwise circles. Shoulders are nice and active, so your whole body is working. So this is a active mobility exercise that's really good for that hip. And then let's switch to counterclockwise. This is making me miss all my bar 3 workouts. I haven't been in so long. They're so fun. And you'll notice probably one direction feels a little funky. That's okay. So just going through your range. Okay, let's go to the other side here. So get your foundation nice and set up, active shoulders, core is active, and then you're just going clockwise. Here, a little pop, that's okay. And remember, we're just avoiding any spine movement. So just, even if you're just making tiny little circles down here, that is A-okay. Good, and then we'll switch and go counterclockwise. Make sure you're breathing. There we go. So now you guys are warmed up for your workout if you need to. So kind of play with some of those. The pelvic floor stuff is really, really helpful, and just not an area that a lot of people work on. So if you can kind of add that into your routine a couple times a week, get some hip circles, go for a run, and let me know how that feels as you start to incorporate it, because it's usually pretty positive, positive results getting those areas. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that we've been going over. And just a reminder that Fridays are no longer, because I'm back to seeing patients then, but I will see you all Sunday night at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard. Shoot me any requests too. Have a good evening.